In this lesson, we'll create the tire for the vehicle. So I'm going to show you what I've done here. I've just taken some of the pieces over on this side, for instance, the door, and just used the working pivot. So turn that on, and then I've just mirrored that stuff over to the other side. So you can see I've got the window, the door. I've also accessed the layer that we created with these pieces on here. I've just detached those. You can just select that as an element and detach it. And I've also attached this piece over to this piece on this side. Okay, so what I haven't done yet is welded these vertices together. So we can take those vertices, editable poly, access those vertices. Okay, make sure we've got all those in there. We can turn off our working pivot while we do this. Go back to vertex. And now we want to weld those together. So I'll go ahead and go to weld. And if you might have polygons on the inside on down here. You want to go ahead and delete those if you do have those. So I'm just going to make sure that everything is kind of welded together like it should be. I've just got a weld threshold of 0.1, which it looks like it's going to work fine for us. Okay, so I've just taken a lot of the pieces over on one side that we've built and just mirrored them over, so you can go ahead and take care of that. Okay, so we don't have to do that for all of the different pieces. Alright, so now we want to actually start to create the wheels. And to start, I'm going to create the tire. So very simply, I'm just going to go ahead and go to create, and let's create a tube. I'm going to start by dragging this out from the center of the wheel, and I'm in the side view here. I'm going to drag out the first radius, let off, drag out the second radius, and then I'll just add some sort of a height to that. Okay, doesn't really matter because we can go ahead and set that. Okay, then we go to modify. We can move this over in this way. Okay, and you can look in the front and get that sized up. I'm going to change the height to something in the positive. Okay, and as we move this over, now I can up that height value until we get something that matches up with our artwork. Okay, so something along those lines. All right, and it depends if you're going to be smoothing this. You can go ahead and leave this as a fairly low resolution. If you're not going to be smoothing it, you might want to go ahead and make that a little bit higher res. Okay, now we want to do a little bit of shaping. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of get rid of the interior here. So I'm going to convert this to an editable poly. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and select basically these edges here, and I'll select the loops. Control select the polygon button here, and go ahead and just delete those. So that leaves us with this, and now we just need to do a little bit of shaping. So I can take this edge right here, select the loop, I can do a chamfer all the way down here under Edit Edges, kind of chamfer that. Just give it a little bit of give it a couple of segments maybe, and change the amount there. So something like that. And we can now kind of give it a little bit of a bulge out here just by selecting this edge, doing a ring selection. Go up here, select the ring, and then we can run connect. Say OK to that, and I'm just going to pull this out just a little, give it a little bit of a bulge. I'm going to grab this edge, take a loop selection, and I'll just pull that out just ever so slightly as well. Okay, and then so you get a little bit of a bulge there for that inflation of the tire, and then the wheel can extend over that. All right, and you can do the same thing over on the other side of the tire as well. Okay, as far as adding this type of detail. Okay. All right, so now that we have a quick tire built, you can play around with the softness of this. You can see what it's going to look like when you smooth it, obviously, just by using any of our smoothing techniques that we looked at. Okay, you can see what that looks like. So now that we've got kind of a tire, in the next lesson we will start to add the wheel. And the wheel is going to be a little bit more complex here, but we've got the tire to work from, and we've got our artwork to work from, so it's going to make things much, much easier. So we'll go ahead and look at how we can start to create the wheel in the next lesson.